I think it's always important to place, a perspective out there. So public relations, just for the listeners' understanding, it's critical for the organizations to be able to communicate with its stakeholders. So meaning the communication strategies, the stakeholder engagement, and the different platforms using media to disseminate information. So having said that, with public relations being at a cornerstone, especially driving innovation within Namibia, we should understand that with business innovation, it's important for us to make sure that we explore the innovative ways to communicate the goals, communicate objectives to consumers of the target market. Equally so, strategic messaging, storytelling, use of modern communication tools. PR helps businesses, organizations stand out to build trust, strengthen relationships with their audience. So yes, in everything that we do as organizations, it is very, very important to understand that it's the key way to innovation as well as a driving growth within the Namibian context.
Mm. And what role does PR play in enhancing corporate reputation, especially in emerging companies?
A big deal. So, and I'm not just saying that because I'm in the industry, but if you have noticed, even during COVID times, that was a brilliant time just to showcase how important PR is, the role that it plays, the consistent information from, the Ministry of Information Communication Technology. So yes, it plays a humongous role in enhancing corporate reputation, especially emerging companies. So how would somebody know about that organization if they're not aware about what it is that you do? What about the service delivery? So that's why as PR practitioners, it's important for us to be kept on our toes, constantly studying the market. The market is changing, especially in the digital aspect, and we're going to touch on that in a few. But in order for us to ensure that the strategies are used, they're on par with the target market and the demands, we need to understand how it is evolutionizing. What are the tools that we now need to use to make sure that we are relevant? So prioritizing what would be considered the most effective method, you need to be on the ground as PR practitioners. So yes, it enhances the reputation, not only just in a crisis, but being proactive to maintain that good reputation for an organization and letting people know about the emerging companies.
Ilke, do you think PR has the power to reshape industries or markets in Namibia? If so, can you share any specific examples?
Great question. And the reason why I'm so excited about this conversation is that I think in the past, many thought that PR was a nice to have, that pretty kind of thing. You make things fun and happy. Now it's by saying, team, we need to hear advice from the PR comms executives because they're the ones that are in direct contact and know how to position organizations with consumers. So industries we can even see, such as green hydrogen, it's taken shape. PR practitioners, it's so important to lead conversations, how to also disseminate information, how to also allow the public to understand what are new concepts, which aren't actually new, what are the benefits, what is the miscommunication, what is the perception that is being put out there that is actually being seen in the wrong light. So therefore, PR has the power of shaping the industry and reshaping it. We can take a look at the oil and gas conference last year. How do we allow as PROs to have these conversations to also communicate the latest trends when it comes to oil and gas? If we recently look at some of the, explorations, foreign investments that have now withdrawn their investments, immediately we saw that PR practitioners and even thought leaders in the industry have now taken step up to the plate to say, hey, but it's not a setback, but in factual act, this is the actual story at the end of the day. So yes, PRs, they have the power to reshape not only just industries, but the narrative. But it's equally important to understand that we need to exercise that voice and be proactive and not be reactive.
Yeah. What are some innovative digital PR strategies that have worked well in Namibia?
Oh, we've noticed a lot, and yourself, you've probably noticed corporate trends. Podcasts have become the trend, especially with corporate owning online platforms. Yes, I come from a whole, 20 plus years in the back date, but not only just with print, but online platforms. We are now creating our own channels to take control over the narrative. We've seen with corporates as well, making use of their own YouTube channels. I'd like to commend the Ministry of Information Communication Technology. I mean, their media team has embraced it. So whenever there's the misdissemination of some kind of communication, it's immediately, set in the right tone to lead the consumers in the right direction. If we look at the president's office, look at how, proactive they are online as well. So yes, last year we observed even with the election results. I mean, in the past, elections, we really had to wait for quite some time. But now, in real time, we have apps. We've got online platforms that give information immediately. So these are a lot of the innovative digital PR strategies that we've now come to make use of and also appreciate as consumers.
And what do you see as the future of public relations in Namibia, especially as the country continues to develop economically and socially?
It's ever evolving. Nothing's the same. As PROs, like I said at the beginning, you need to keep your eyes and ears, with what's happening. Something that we did last year is probably not relevant this year. So yes, number one, the future for public relations in Namibia, especially on a digital platform, it's ever evolving. It's how we also make use of the platform so that we can not only just, and like I said at the beginning, it's not about a nice to have platform, but how do we develop economically and socially? If you look at the tourism industry, I mean, all of this is run digitally, where people that have never been in a country before get to see the country online before even experiencing Namibia. That's only one example of the many that we can mention. But the effectiveness of public relations goes beyond just the aesthetics, but also the content. What do we showcase? How do we position? How do we get it out there? So yes, public relations, it's a vital driver of business innovation and also the sustainable growth in Namibia. We just need to know, how do we navigate this rapidly evolving landscape? How do we use the strategic communication so that it can be a benefit tool to us to make sure that we are part of that conversation around, developing the economy.
And just finally, Ilke, what are some of the main challenges faced by PR professionals in Namibia when trying to drive innovation and growth? And how can these challenges be mitigated?
Yeah. With public relations officers, we should understand the real power of PR. I think many times we also haven't unlocked that huge potential of what we're sitting with because of that notion that PR has been 10th on the agenda, coming from finance, human resource, the other higher up agenda points. Now is the time for PROs to ensure that business operations, PR takes the heart of that organization. It's the key driver of innovation. How do we as PROs adapt? Some of the challenges have been that some PROs are also just used to doing, things in a certain way. We need to change. We need to adapt. We need to use new methods of doing things, because if we're just stuck in the past of what we've done 20, 30 years prior, we're not going to be able to also to communicate with the consumers that are now using different platforms, the things that are now the in things, but reach a larger target market. As PR professionals, I also encourage PROs to also not work in silos. How do we also foster this collaboration amongst the PR industry? How do we have these bodies whereby we also showcase, we also share these challenges as PROs, and how do we navigate around it? Yes, digital innovation is great, but it also comes with challenges on its own. The things that we now are doing, sometimes it's also not just for the advantage, but also as a disadvantage. But at the end of the day, I think with the challenges faced by any industry or sector, it's important for us to communicate about those, find resolutions together, and try to assist each other in the industry.